Ki khubor ka Batesi TV
ka umdi basnyam bat penjaslian Rupa Premium Meghalaya.
Ribhoi College ringkat ke jengat terailang bat ke Niru Yuva Kendra Sagatan bat ke NSS unit jeng Ribhoi district kelapan long ke district level Viksit Parliament Ribhoi College menyatai halokamat one nation one election hakabalai bentar ke Samla Pule nak keleng ke district. Kajylla jang Samla kelong banyak saat jiki pang bakongsan jong kari bat ban pendro ya kasap nong yalam bat ke jing temu bakongsan jong ni ke lempung kelong ban kentiu ya ke jing skau tho syapang guru komsin syar khadar hapo kari India ban pen kubor ke jing mujing berkat ke bidang Samla bat ban penshlo de ke jing shim benta ke barat ba hakabate ya kalawai ba pernai jong kari. Kinong bishar hagari ke jingatai kilong ke principal jong Ribhoi College ke Dr. Elizabeth Kharkongor ubat Matthew Kenneth Makdo udi rapsang ke kong I Kharnayor baru Samla Victor Suleng. Langut ke Samla ke lepen pau ke jing tebet jongki ban Kren hagari ke lempung kela syajit ban mikmat ya ke district hagari state level competition ke ban long hagari Meglai Legislative Assembly Shillong.
The youth parliament, mock parliament, so that the voices of the youth can be heard. That is the reason why we are here today. When we look at the representation of our youths in the parliament, we see that at present, out of the 543 MPs, there are only 41 young MPs between the age group of 25 and 40 years. Turning our attention to our own legislative assembly also, majority of the members in our legislative assembly belong to the older age group. This raised questions with regard to the representation of our young generation in our legislative bodies. So that is why this kind of awareness, this kind of exchange program, this kind of discussion, debate, or to say the mock parliament is very important, so as to make the youth understand how a parliament works and how legislative process goes on in our country.
Where governance is uninterrupted, where policies are implemented without delays, and where the burden of election is minimized. This is the vision of one nation, one election. India, the world's largest democracy, is trapped in a cycle of frequent elections. Every few months, some part of the country is voting, bringing governance to a standstill. The model code of conduct halts policy decisions. Security forces are constantly deployed and crores of rupees are drained. Is this sustainable? No. One nation, one election is not just an idea. It is a necessity. Firstly, it will save taxpayers' money. In 2019, the Lok Sabha election alone cost 60,000 crore rupees. Imagine how much we could save if all the elections were held together. This money could be invested in healthcare, education, and infrastructure. Secondly, it will ensure political stability. Frequent elections lead to political instability, with governments focusing on short-term populism rather than long-term governance. If election happens once in 5 years, leaders will work for development rather than appeasement. Thirdly, it will strengthen democracy. With synchronized elections, the follows will shift from rhetoric to real issues like economic growth, employment, and national security. But some may ask, is it feasible? And the answer is again, yes. With constitutional amendments and political consensus, these reforms is possible. Our election commission is capable. Our institutions are strong and our democracy is mature. It is time to governance seamlessly and election meaningful. Let's choose progress over politics, unity over division, and efficiency over chaos. The time for one nation, one election is now.
So regards to the topic, the idea of one nation and one election aim to synchronize Lok Sabha and state legislative assembly to streamline governance, reduce costs and enhance democratic participation. So the first thing I want to point that I've noted down about how one nation, one election can pave the way for Viksit Bharat is cost efficiency. It can help in reducing election expensive affairs requires significant resources for polling, security, logistics, and more importantly, our priority, significant resource, potential, that is manpower. Also, it can help billions of money in conducting election, which this could be used for development project, implementing schemes, and also infrastructure development. Secondly, it can help in focusing on governance, by which election happening less frequently, political parties and politicians can improve or can focus on governance and policy making rather than constantly campaigning. Also, voter could be spared from having to vote frequently, which this would increase political participation and voter engagement. On the other hand, it can also improve political planning, with this help in political stability that lead to a stronger and a stable nation, and also a well-known, well-formed government, and also less frequent election cycle in which party would engage more in forming debates about national issues, about national interest, about national concern, and development of programs. Lastly, most important profound point is it will help boost national integration, where a single day of election could help create a sense of national unity through unified electoral process. And also it can reduce regionalism that can promote a balanced view of national and local concern of the citizens of India. However, some things are on the negative sides of this one nation, one election idea, such as federalism at risk. But it is not that straight. You see, like so many countries like Sweden and South Africa have already implemented these ideas. So, I wish we all together as the citizens of India join hands together, bind together to work on the path or to fulfill the dreams of our Honorable Prime Minister that have already thought about this.
What is this One Nation, One Election? A proposal introduced by the Government of India on the 17th of December 2024, synchronized election process where elections to the Lok Sabha, state legislative assemblies, and other local bodies are conducted simultaneously. India, the largest democracy in the world, has long grappled with the challenges of frequent election. To put in perspective, frequent election put a financial strain on the government, state, and its resources. According to a report, the 2019 Lok Sabha election alone cost over 60,000 crore, and the 2024 election nearly 1.35 lakh crore. Many call it a wasteful expenditure. If you combine with the expenditure of the elections of the state assemblies of the same year, the cost is enormous. Instead, such a huge amount can bring more developmental projects to our nation. For instance, many people in rural areas died. Why? Because of limited access to healthcare. They have to travel far distances to reach the hospitals in the urban centers, which result in delaying of the treatment. And also, remote areas often have few schools, making it difficult for children to walk to far places. These students from remote regions have enormous potential and are willing to learn, but they lack the proper coaching and poverty. People in the rural areas prefer their kids to work hard and earn money and get married at a very young age. As a result, enrollment rates are low while dropout rates are greater. One Nation, One Election will drastically reduce the expenditure of the government spent on election and focus on these type of challenges faced by the citizens. Frequent election also disrupt policy making and divert the government focus from governance to election. Politicians of the ruling will be busy with electioneering rather than governance. Simultaneous election will ensure continuity in governance and ensuring developmental projects are completed without unnecessary delay. This will allow the government to prioritize policy making and long-term planning instead of being in constant election mode. Simultaneous election also improves voter engagement. Suppose if a person is working or studying in Chennai but has a vote in Shillong, he will not be able to come to Shillong to vote in every election. But if election is held at one time, there is a higher chance that he will do it, as it will be easy for him to travel once a time. It is of my view that if One Nation, One Election is conducted, a huge reduction in cost is available for the government for the expenditure that can in the developmental projects which will improve the economy of our nation. Also, the government will have sufficient time to concentrate on governance, policy making, and development for achieving the aims and objectives of Viksit Bharat.
Paving the way for Viksit Bharat. The concept of one nation, one election proposes synchronizing Lok Sabha and state assembly elections across India. This reform has been discussed as a step towards Viksit Bharat, developed India, by improving governance, reducing electoral process, and ensuring political stability. However, it also presents many challenges, including federalism, implementation, and democratic representation. Merits of one nation and one elections are follows: cost reduction. Frequent elections leads to huge expenditures by the government and political practices. Synchronizing elections would significantly cut costs related to election management, security, and logistics. Political stability. Simultaneous elections can reduce the cycles of political stability caused by frequent polls, ensuring continuity in governance and decision-making, enhance voters' turnout. A single, well-planned elections could improve voter participation by making the electoral process more engaging and less tenuous. The merits of one nation and one elections are threats to federalism. India's constitution allows the states to have their own electoral timeline. Forcing synchronization may dilute the autonomy of state government. Constitutional amendments. Implementing this initiative would necessitate significant constitutional changes, including amendments to Articles 83, 85, 172, and others, which govern the tenures of legislative bodies. While one nation, one election could enhance government efficiency and political stability, it poses significant challenges related to federalism, logistics, and democratic representation. However, by careful planning and reforms, legal reforms and consensus building among stakeholders are very crucial before implementation. If executed effectively, it could pave the way of Viksit Bharat Youth Parliament by ensuring a more significant, stable, and development-focused political stability, fostering India's visions of Viksit Bharat by 2047. Which was initiated in 2019, has steadily evolved to provide a formal platform for the young voices across India to engage in meaningful discussion about national issues. So over the years, participation has grown significantly, and each edition culminated in the top winners addressing the youth at the Central Hall of Parliament. I think you all know about this. The winners of the district level, we are going to select 10 participants to represent this district to the state level. And in the state level, the program will be held at the assembly, and from there 3 participants will be selected to represent our state. So this year, the National Youth Parliament Festival, which we called before, has transformed into the Viksit Bharat Youth Parliament, aligning with the Viksit Bharat 2047 vision. This transformation reflects the Prime Minister 2017 vision to foster 1 lakh youth leader who will drive India's future development. The new format focuses on creating dynamic, solution-oriented youth leader capable of contributing meaningfully to India's growth trajectory. The reimagine or redesign event will feature offline round, as I have said, at the district level, state level, and national level, offering the opportunity to engage deeply with the national issues and interact with policymakers in development discourse. So, why we are organizing this Viksit Bharat, I'll just let you know regarding the objective of this. Number one is to amplify youth voices. To provide a platform for the youth, as the principal has said, aged between 18 to 25 years of age, to deliberate on national issues right from the district, state, and to the national level. The number two is to encourage a public engagement, foster youth involvement in public issues, encouraging them to understand the viewpoints of ordinary citizens, and form their own opinion and express them effectively. And number three is to develop decision-making skills, to encourage the development of critical thinking and decision-making abilities among the youth. And number four is to foster respect and tolerance, to cultivate an environment where respect for diverse opinions is essential, promoting tolerance and understanding. And number five is to promote rule adherence, instill an understanding that discussion must be governed by rule and structure to achieve effective outcomes. And number six is to gather youth opinion on Viksit Bharat, to capture the perspective and ideas of youth on the vision of Viksit Bharat, helping shape India's future growth. And number seven is to share youth idea with policymakers, documents and present youth perspective to policymakers, ensuring youth-driven ideas are incorporated into the development agenda. So this year, reimagine or redesign of this Viksit Bharat Youth Parliament reflect a vision that is both forward-looking and rooted in the belief that youth are not merely recipients of change, but active agents in shaping India's future.
Remind us of our responsibility as youth, lead India towards becoming a Viksit Bharat. Greetings all ladies and gentlemen, I am Ïingdorbar. I graduated my bachelor degree in economics from Ribhoi College, Ngut. And today I stand before you to share my views on the topic of One Election, One Nation, or ONOE, paving the way for the Viksit Bharat. In India's every democracy, simultaneous elections were denounced. From 1952 to 1967, Lok Sabha and State Assembly were held together. But this cycle was disrupted due to premature dissolution of state assemblies and the Lok Sabha in 1968 to 1970s. Since then, frequent elections have become norms. This raised concerns about governance, disruptions, and financial burdens. In 2019 election, it cost around 6,000 crore. Supporters claimed simultaneous election could save up to 1.5% of India's GDP. Countries like Sweden, South Africa, Belgium follow simultaneous election. Does India means that it has to follow? Well, it's tough to say because they follow proportional representation and we follow the first past the post systems. At first glance, one election, one nation seems like an efficient solution. It promised to reduce time, reduce costs, and streamline governance. While these benefits sound promising, let us not forget that democracy is not merely about reducing costs. It's about empowering every citizen. First and foremost, implementing one election, one nation risks overshadowing regional parties and issues. Diverse nations like India, regional parties play a crucial role in representing a local interest. Ladies and gentlemen, can we truly call ourselves a democracy, or just one nation, one election paving the way to Viksit Bharat, if the regional issues are not concerned? For example, the farmers in Punjab are sidelined. Frequent elections may be seen as a burden, but they are essential for accountability. They force leaders to remain connected to the constituents' needs. Ladies and gentlemen, instead of risking a democracy with one nation, one election, why not explore other ways to reduce election costs and time? For example, number one, phased elections. It reduces to manage resources effectively. Number two, it will be curbing campaigns expenditure. Implementing stricter regulations on campaign spending help reduce the overall financial burdens. Voters' elections and engagements enhance coordinations. By adopting these strategies, it reduces the cost of the time. Instead of focusing on one election, why not in initiatives like one nation, one education, one nation, one healthcare, or one nation, one tax? These policies will generally promote development while respecting regional identities. Imagine a country where every child has access to quality education regarding our states. This is the essence of the Viksit Bharat. One election may present appealing visions of efficiency. It poses significant risk and democratic fabric and policy representation. Let us focus on policy that unite us through education, healthcare, and equitable governance without compromising our diverse democracy.
Deepak Rai.
Oh, begitu.